right. Without further ado, we bring in the big fella here on the YSN Power Hour. There he is. Look at this. Are you on like Skycam?
Yeah, it's up on a big screen monitor. So can you hear
What?
me all right?
I can hear you fine, Mace. How we doing, brother?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. What has the last 24 hours been like for you? I know you've been courted by so many Division One schools, and it's been a tough decision. But to finally make that decision and get behind it, obviously with your Rocket shirt on, what is has it been a whirlwind the last 24 hours?
It's definitely been relieving for sure. That's the main thing I could tell you. Just relieving and a great feeling knowing that I have a home and somewhere that I can spend the rest of my football career at.
Okay, so let's get the number right, because I said that it was somewhere between 10 and 20. What was the number of D1 offers that you had to deal with?
14.
14. Okay, and that is for an 18-year-old young man, 17-year-old young man.
Yeah, I'm 16, so.
You're 16, so
Yeah.
just keep going down. I mean, there's 16-year-olds. That's a tough decision for a young man. Walk me through the process. I mean, you were getting recruited starting in your freshman year, no?
Correct. Yep. End of freshman year into my sophomore year.
What was it like for you to constantly be courted and having to make these, which is a tough decision for a 16-year-old to make, where you want to spend really the next 4 years of your life?
Honestly, I just think you kind of have to like put that stuff to the side, the recruiting aspect of it, and let that like just work. Like you just have to work as much as you can and do that stuff on the side and let that stuff come to when it comes. And you just have to work as hard as you can.
Now, being that there's a really tough recruitment process over the last 2 years, you've really kind of, I don't want to say you've been up against it, but it's been a new recruitment process for anything that your family has gone through. Obviously, your uncle was your coach the last 3 years. Your dad is well known in East Liverpool. Talk to me about what you had to learn about this recruitment process that you didn't know going into it.
Honestly, there's a lot of different things. You got to be able to put your film out there early and know how to do that. You obviously don't want a 20-minute highlight reel because coaches aren't going to sit there and watch that highlight reel for 20 minutes. I mean, really all you need is a 4-minute reel and just give it to the coaches, and you got to make sure it's a good 4-minute reel of tape and not bad film.
So obviously your dad, the superintendent over at East Liverpool, academics are first and foremost when it comes to it. I'm sure that when you were talking to coaches, they wanted to know what it was like for you in school. How important now that you know is your GPA and things of that nature, and things from outside like things you volunteer for that go on your resume to send to schools?
I feel like some kids look at it as like before they're getting recruited, they don't really worry about school. But I mean, I've always been good in the classroom. So my freshman year, I was like, as we said, I was getting recruited towards the end of the year, but I didn't really have to worry about my grades because my grades have always been, I mean, I have like a 3.9, 3.8. So if you always are just like staying with that at that level, you won't have to worry about it. And I feel like some kids, once they start getting recruited, they're kind of like their options are limited because they can't go to some places because their GPA is low or their ACT score is low.
Do you feel like offensive linemen have a different kind of recruitment process than a skilled player from a football standpoint?
I do, yes. I feel like there's some things that don't matter as much as, like, say, a 40-yard dash. It's not as important as a wide receiver's 40-yard dash or a cornerback or something like that. But I feel like also there's another thing I could add in there is that linemen tend to go faster and commit faster than other positions. That's just kind of how it works.
Did you know that going in? I mean, did somebody warn you and kind of walk you through that?
Coaches told me along the way, but like when I first started this process, I had no idea. I mean, I had to learn everything to it.
All right, so yesterday you make it official. You're going to be a Toledo Rocket. What was it about Toledo that you fell in love with and you feel like the next 4 years are going to be greater at Toledo than they were at the other 13 offers?
So I got my first scholarship, and as it was Toledo, that was the end of my mid to end of my sophomore season, and I just thought like the fact of the relationship I built with him over the past 2 years has just been the best relationship out of any other coaches that I've talked to. And I mean, I talked to Coach Hallett, Coach Kendall on the daily. I talked to every single one of their coaches, and the relationship between them and my uncle and my family is great as well. I mean, my whole family basically talks to them. My uncle has a relationship with them through Mount Union, so it's honestly just the fact that I trust the people, and that's what I feel like people should really look at when they're going to decide what school they want to go to. Is you got to trust those people and taking you into their school and being able to take you where you need to be on your game.
What were some of the other factors that you looked at when you were choosing a school? I mean, the level of comfortability, I'm sure, kind of went into that.
Level of comfortability, locations, definitely one of my main things. That was well, my lights are off. Let me grab that. There we go. It's motion. So, like I said, location, the school itself, the education, what I'm looking to major in, and I mean the facilities, of course. When we kind of, it sounds kind of picky, but once you have so many options, you kind of look into that stuff and all the little things, and they play a big factor in it.
Now, one thing that I haven't heard you say anything yet is playing time, right? So I know that, from a recruitment standpoint, prior to COVID, playing time was always somewhere in the conversation. Did you have a discussion about playing time, or is that something you just said, hey, I'll earn it when I earn it?
Yeah, this is one thing that I've learned out through the recruitment process is you honestly don't want to go somewhere that they're going to tell you, oh, you could play early, oh, you could start your freshman or sophomore year. I think that's kind of a bad thing to look for because that kind of shows that their program's down, honestly, and that they're not in a great spot. So I feel like the best thing that you could look for as a recruiter is I have to go in here and earn this spot and work for it and get better that way.
Mason, I know we're talking a lot about football here, but you are a three-sport athlete. You're very good at all three sports. When you look at it, I mean, East Liverpool Potter Blue, it runs deep. And not only in your family, but obviously in that entire area. And it really is nationwide. When you talk about Potter Nation, there's people that chime in from California, from Florida, and all over the place. What does it mean to wear that blue and white on a Friday night?
Oh, it's very important to me. I mean, Potter football goes way back, and not even just football. All these sports go way back. I mean, our basketball programs in the past have been really good, and we've had really good football teams in the past. So you just got to play with pride and play with that chip on your shoulder of who's done it before you and who you're going out there representing.
So when you look at, I mean, just had a successful basketball season, and now you're moving right into baseball. I saw your highlights yesterday on your Twitter page.
Yeah.
Brother, you mash more than potatoes at that baseball, at the plate. Talk to me about, do you have them ranked and like what sports you love after football? I mean, football's got to be one, right?
So football is one, but when I was younger, I played travel baseball, and that's really what I did. I played travel baseball, I played fall baseball, and I played basketball. I didn't start football until 7th grade. So my first real love in the sport was baseball. I mean, I played it since T-ball, and I played for Ohio Elite, and I'll probably still I'm going to play at Scene this summer. So baseball's always been really important to me, and I feel like it's built some really good relationships with me as well with other players.
Dude, I got to do, I think, 2 East Liverpool games last year, and you hit a ball in one of your games that I think literally just landed the other day. Talk to me. I mean, you guys have a really interesting baseball field there, and it suits kind of hitters like you, especially from the left side. You can mash a little bit.
Yeah, so we have a short porch out there in right field, and I mean, left's not much longer either. And I had a bad year, honestly, and I'll be the first to admit it. When it comes to hitting last year, and I definitely am coming back on a revenge tour this year to try to put out some balls.
All right, so we always ask this question in player profiles, especially with multi-sport athletes. As a big man, would you rather recover a fumble in the end zone and get credit for the touchdown, or would you rather have a walk-off home run in baseball?
Honestly, probably recover a fumble because, I mean, the baseball thing's kind of more realistic, but I mean, I've never recovered the fumble and scored in football. So I mean, that's always something I kind of think about. Like that'd be really cool, but never happened.
So like even in the younger, did you play like flag football or anything?
I did not. I did not play down at football until 7th grade when I played.
Okay. And I bet people salivate at the sight because you've always been one of those front liners, right?
Yeah, I've always been up there on the line. So one thing I'd say is, not playing football until 7th grade kind of didn't like give me any habits. I didn't have any habits to break or anything like that, which I think kind of helped me a lot. I was raw, and I just went from there.
What's crazy, Mason, is there's so many people looking to specialize nowadays in sports. You know, they just want to play baseball, or they just want to play football or basketball, or whatever that sport may be. You're one of the elite multi-sport athletes in our area. What would you tell the younger generation about sticking with multi-sports and playing all of them?
I think it's the greatest thing you could ever do. Honestly, I played 3 sports in 7th grade, and well, first off, it makes the school year go by super fast. And coaches, like college coaches, look at that, and like I'll get phone calls and coaches are like, I didn't know you played baseball, I didn't know you played basketball, and they love that because it just shows. I mean, every sport has different movements and how you move, like lateral movements and stuff like that. So they see that, and it just shows that you can do different things other than just that sport.
We're going to take a couple questions from the bleachers, if you would. Chris Sigler says, interesting now how the transfer portal impacts potential recruits. Did it impact any of the offers that you received out of the 14?
So I feel like some schools are going kind of like towards the transfer portal and kind of like taking more kids from the portal than they are getting like high school recruits. So I feel like it kind of could impact how many offers I got. But I don't think it really impacted much other than that, really.
So you obviously have the ability to have another year, your senior year, you're still looking forward to. But when you make that jump to college, I know in some of the conversations I've had with college coaches is they look to the transfer portal because they already have kids that are acclimated to college life. What is the biggest challenge you foresee for yourself in jumping from high school to college? Is it the laundry? Is it the study tables? What is it?
I honestly think it might just be like there's just that gap between high school football and college football, and I think that's just like probably honestly the hardest thing to overcome is just that little gap.
I can respect that. All right, another question from the bleacher seats. Aaron Mosier says, did you talk to Kyle Moore, who's from Fitch, about how Toledo is, or do you know Kyle at all?
I do not.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
So there's a local tie-in that I'm sure would be a great sounding board for you, but
All
also being able to kind of lock in there, and it's someone that's close to home. I know whenever I went to college, it's always nice to have someone who you can hitch a ride with that freshman year.
For sure.
What are you looking forward to most about but heading out to Toledo and becoming a Rocket?
Just being at the next level, honestly. I feel like that's something that a lot of kids don't get the chance to do. And I mean, I don't know the exact percentage, but it's really low. And I'm just excited to grind at the next level and be the best I can be.
What are you looking to study? Do you know yet?
I have some different things I'm looking at. Basically, as you probably know, my whole family's really in education.
Yeah.
So my sister studies education at Fairmont State. But I also take construction at my high school here, and I'm either leaning towards education or something based off construction.
So obviously, we talked about it right before you came on. Every student athlete who jumps to the next level, whether it be D1, 2, 3, JUCO, whatever it may be, has dreams of becoming a professional athlete. Obviously, that's in the realm of possibility for you.
I feel like, and I have this conversation with coaches all the time, and this is why the education is so important. A lot of coaches say, and I'd say it too, the pads have to come off at some time. They can't stay on forever. So I feel like it's really important to get that degree. And I mean, there's people that have made it to the league for 1 year and then they're done because they got hurt and they're done. They don't have that chance anymore. So I feel like you always need to have that education to have right there and ready just in case you need it in the next step in your life.
Obviously, you come from a championship caliber background with your uncle being part of that Mount Union team. Talk to me about what he's instilled in you from just learning to win with class the way that you do.
Yeah, I've always been a relaxed kid. I'm not a cocky or like loud kid. So, I mean, I've always just been a grinder, and he's always taught me everything really in the weight room to on the field, and he just pushed me to where where I'm at to this day.
All right, so we're going back to the bleachers, and this one, you might know this guy, Nate Conley. You might know him. Have you ever made a three-pointer in a basketball game?
I have, actually. I was 2 for 3 in the Beaver local game, so that's something we talk about a lot.
You talk about that a lot?
Yeah, we do. I bring it up a lot, at least.
I'm sure. I mean, are those the only two that you had your career?
Yeah, well, it was last year, and I think my percentage was amongst the best out of everybody else. So,
I love it. A couple more questions here with Mason Ludwig, who is the East Liverpool rep, obviously offensive lineman, plays basketball, and I am sure you will be representing the Potters on the baseball field very well here in the next couple weeks. Are you excited? I mean, from the standpoint of, I mean, it's what 38 degrees out today, and you guys probably have a game lined up the next 3 or 4 days. Are you excited to get out there and swing it?
I'm really ready. So Monday's our first game against Edison. I'm hopefully we can go out there and get a big win, our first game of the year, and I'm just ready to go out there and probably be on the mound and to swing and hopefully get a lot of hits this year, better than last year.
Dude, I saw you striking out my Bulldogs in a scrimmage.
Yeah.
What was I mean, big southpaw, can sling it, no problem. What's your go-to pitch? Are you a fastball guy, or do you like to work the corners?
It honestly just depends on the day, really, but I'd probably go with the slider.
Slider, all right, I like it. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. Obviously, a young man of your stature, just in the community, not necessarily even in your stature from a size standpoint. Talk to me about people who influenced you from the early going, your role models, and people who've helped you get to this point. Like yesterday was so special for you.
I mean, my whole family's always been there for me. Obviously, my uncle, my parents, my sister, all my grandparents have always just pushed me to where I am to this day. And I mean, they from everything, they're always there for me.
Mace, we're so proud of you. I mean, it's been a long time coming to get you on here. We're looking forward to pushing you every chance we can. Now that you're committed to Toledo, we'll help you, from a standpoint of pushing you out there, getting you acknowledged from a standpoint of football, basketball, and baseball. We're looking forward to seeing you here in a couple weeks, but even more so here in the fall, watching you push around people as a future commit to Toledo, man.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate you. There he goes, the legend, and a guy you're going to hear a lot from, Mason Ludwig, a guy we followed for a long time, and he has waited patiently for his opportunity to shine in the sunlight and bask in that spotlight, and he doesn't shy away from it. He is a prime time player that you're going to see on Tuesdays and Thursdays, a little maction, as they call it, on the mothership. So thank you to Mason Ludwig for joining the show. It's an honor always to have him on and to shine a little bit of light on the guys, the offensive linemen, the big fellas, as he is the best in our area, and I would argue that with anybody. So thanks again to Mason Ludwig.